because Shawn has a special treat for you that I don't even want to spoil it, but you're going to hear it for yourself. And he's an absolute delight. His wife is so beautiful, and she's so wonderful and so supportive of him and us. And it's an absolute honor to know this man. So Shawn, please come up. No, I'm going down there. The floor is yours, Shawn.
All right, okay. Before we get into the fun stuff, I do want to, obviously, I've been listening to everybody talk about Phyllis Schlafly for a while. I understand she was an activist first, a leader. And I'm going to ask this question at the beginning of what we're going to do here, and then at the end of what we're going to do here. I heard a very audible gasp in the room when Andrea spoke, when Derek spoke, when Will spoke, when Cynthia spoke, and when Ed spoke about what's going on with January 6th. If you were one of the people who gasped, I want you to think before we revisit this question in the end. Do you know anybody else in your life, it's not here with you, not here in the room right now, but that you can still speak to, that would gasp when they hear the same story? And if you do know that person, you tell them that story, and you make sure that they tell their friends that story, and that we all take a stand to stop the weaponization of government, because if we don't, it's coming to everybody's doorstep, and when they knock on your door, it's going to be too late. So you make sure that you spread that message when we go home. That's my ultimate goal. Now, does this come off? Yeah, right. Now we're going to have some fun, okay? We're going to have some fun. For those of you who know me, I see there's a few cameras out. You probably know the deal already. For those of you who don't know me, I have an incredible knack for sounding like, pardon me when I say this, but the greatest president in the history of our great country. Okay, okay. And so, much like many different great things in the world, Donald Trump has led to great things in my life, not just the ability to start my own business, and I'll get to a few other things about Donald Trump, but we all know that I invented sliced bread. You all understand that? I looked at a loaf, I said, we got to cut it, we got to put butter on it, it's going to be incredible. I also gave, who Tiger Woods, who knows Tiger Woods? You know Tiger Woods, the golfer? His name is Eldrick, you understand that? And I looked at him and I said, Eldrick, Eye of the Eldrick doesn't sound very good. I named him Tiger, and that's how he got his name, okay? I'm happy to hear that. I actually just came up with that joke on a Twitter space this morning, so I'm kind of proud about that. That's good. All right, I guess we'll keep going with it. I invented the all-you-can-eat buffet. You understand that? Now Chris Christie is endorsing me. Could you believe that? That one I just came up with here. That's pretty cool. But other things that Donald Trump has done, obviously, he was the greatest president we've ever seen. Come on, it was amazing, right? He was. I was in college in 2012. I kid you not. This is not as the unfortunate current president would say, not a joke. It's not a joke. I got hairy legs. No, I was in college at the time, and I was like transitioning, if that's the word to use, away from being a liberal, because I had one conservative college professor. My dad, the past Christmas, bought me Pinheads and Patriots by Bill O'Reilly. Great book, by the way. And I said, I like being a patriot. I don't like being a pinhead. And I was really starting to get upset. I worked in a paint store at the time, and there was a language barrier. And it's not like, oh, there he is. He's being racist again. And it's like, no, but I understand that there was an issue with the southern border. And so long story short is I like to get under people's skin, if you couldn't tell, because what I could do with this voice, let me just tell you. And we got stories. But there was a pack of rabid, I guess you can call them wolves, but they were really rabid people in the back of the class, in this college class. And I raised my hand for the professor, and I said to him, Professor, I have a question. 2012, so it's the Romney-Obama year. I'm at Hofstra University. They're hosting the debates, all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Election is in the air. Everybody's talking about it. I said, Professor, how about we create a lot of jobs? I said this in class. How about we create a lot of jobs, tons of jobs, and reform immigration by building a wall on the southern border? And the people in the back of the room said, he's a racist. So they stole the election. Donald Trump stole my idea, but it's okay. It's okay. I didn't know I could sound like him until I was working in the sales field. I was selling DirecTV on Long Island, not in Long Island. Anybody who goes to Long Island, if you ever said you were in Long Island, you're not allowed to stay there anymore. That's it. If I just made that mistake now, somebody was going to come get me. They would have flown here from St. Louis, from Long Island to St. Louis. Get off the stage, you got to go. I was selling DirecTV on Long Island, and it was 2015, and I used to always be into voices. I went to school for radio. I always wanted to do sports casting. I didn't care about politics, right? I didn't know who George Soros was. I knew Jack Daniels was. I didn't know who George Soros was. I didn't know any of these people were. I loved Rand Paul, one of the best senators in the Senate. He's great. Gotta love Rand, right? And I was reading his book, but I was sitting there. We were at work, and we were bowling. And guy throws a strike. So here I am. I'm thinking, I love voices. I'm all into this. I looked at it. I said, that was a fantastic throw. He goes, what? I said, that was a fantastic throw. My fellow Americans, did you see that throw? He threw it down the lane. The pins were going everywhere. It was like Rosie O'Donnell at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Nobody knows what's going on. Incredible. What an incredible throw. Now you have an X on the screen. I heard if you get 3 of those, it's called a turkey. What a beautiful thing. And the guy goes, well, that sounded like Trump. I said, yeah, cool. And I did that the rest of the night, and everybody I worked with hated me. And it was great. It was fantastic. I didn't care because I took that skill into the field. I'm selling DirecTV. 2015, 2016, everyone's starting to get Trump fever. You can even tell the people who were going to maybe hold their nose and vote for him weren't actually going to hold their nose. They were like, I can't stand him. I freaking love this guy. You know, I've always wanted to call Hillary Clinton a nasty person. I remember selling in the field, and I had people go, well, I don't know if I want to switch. I don't know if I want that dish on my roof. You need to make sure that we get Fox News. And I would look them dead in the eye, and I would say, do I look like or sound like the type of person who would ever take that away from you? Are you kidding me? Do you think I'm going to do that? I'd never do that. I'd never do. And they would go, oh, my gosh, I want this. That sounded like Trump. That was great. So now all of a sudden I'm on Long Island. COVID hits, summer of 2020, Antifa riots, burning down cities. We had a few of them on Long Island as well. I said, someone's got to do something. Cynthia got to that moment where she said, someone's got to do something. I said, someone's got to do something. So they started doing these boat parades, right? Everyone saw the boats with the flags, and it was really nice. I loved it. I didn't have a boat. I'm just a guy who works in a paint store. Where am I getting a boat? Come on. So I went out and I watched one of these boat parades, and I had a drone. I love my drone. Beautiful drone. Beautiful. I flew the drone over Abdul's house in Afghanistan. I said, Abdul, you're not going to do that. No, not that type of drone. But I said, I took this drone. I flew it up. There was another guy there. I had no idea who this guy was. I'm sitting in my truck. I see a few other people walk out of their trucks in their cars with some Trump flags. I'm like, so we're being bold today. We're on Long Island. We're wearing their Trump stuff. No one's going to, all right, cool. I think I'm with friendlies. So I took my flags out and put them up on my truck, blasted the Trump rally on my Bluetooth speaker from the night before, because if there's anything I am, one word that could describe me is obnoxious, and that's okay. Yeah, we got to do it sometimes. So I have this drone. I'm flying it up. I have these virtual reality glasses. It's amazing. I look like a stormtrooper with these on. But I have these virtual reality, and the guy's got binoculars, and he's like, hey, you want to see the boats? And I'm like, wait, just give me 5 minutes. I'm going to be above the boats, and then you can wear my crazy glasses, and you're going to see for yourself. And he was excited, flying the drones and watching these boat parades, and I'm talking to this guy. I'd never met him before, and these crazy ladies who were up on the overpass over the water with the flags, and their faces were painted, and it was all thing. And I'm like, there is so much energy, but none of these people like me have boats. What are we going to do? So I'm driving home. 35 minutes. It should have taken 45, but for whatever reason, there was no traffic that day on Long Island. It was the only day. There's never been traffic on Long Island. And I said, we have to start a movement with the boats, but without the boats. And instead of the boats, we're going to use cars and we're going to use trucks. And so I put a post up on Facebook, a complete nobody. Nobody knew I could sound like President Trump yet. It was an unbelievable thing. 500 cars show up to this first event. The next event, 2 weeks later, we get 3,000. Then we shut down Fifth Avenue. If anybody see those videos of Trump flags and trucks in front of Fifth Avenue? Yeah. Some guy who worked in a paint store posting it in the morning after running on the treadmill, gassed out of there. Just goes, let's go, let's do this. We did it. We had 10,000 cars go from Nassau County, Western Long Island, all the way out to Montauk Point. We had 15K going from Farmingdale, Point of Long Island out. Andrew Cuomo watched our Fox and Friends hit from the parking lot, got so upset with us that he shut down the park And stranded cars all over Hempstead Turnpike on Long Island. It was flags. They couldn't go anywhere. It was backed up. Incredible. We actually wound up going to Andrew Cuomo's house at upstate New York on his birthday because it was nice. I said, we're going to go give Andrew Cuomo a birthday party. He wouldn't let us out of our houses, so we protested peacefully outside of his house with a big sign that says we identify as a group of 10 people or less. This way we were in compliance with the COVID rules. And we brought him a cake and we sang happy birthday. And then we found out, oh, you know who lives 10 minutes away? Crooked Hillary. Could you believe that? We're going to go. And we went. And I took out my bullhorn, this big, beautiful bullhorn, and I turned it on and I said, Hillary, I want you to come outside and say hello to me. And I know this voice haunts you more than the name Monica Lewinsky, but it's okay. We don't have to talk about it. Secret Service in front of the house. They were dying. Anyway, started this movement on Long Island. Amazing. Met so many great people there. And one guy says to me, you got to go on TikTok. And I said, oh, no. China. That's all I said to him. I just looked at him and I went, China. He said, what? I said, China, I'm not going to do it. He goes, you have to do it. I said, okay. Why? He goes, if you do that voice on that app, it's going to go viral. It's going to go everywhere. So I started. I did a little night before Christmas rhyme, and it started to pick up traction. Remember when the left came for Dr. Seuss, by the way? Green eggs and ham became a racist thing. Yeah, I didn't like that so much. So I said, we're rewriting Green eggs and ham. And I said, I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Lindsey Graham. I will not eat them with the senator from South Carolina or with the virus that came from China. I will not eat them with Mitch McConnell or with my favorite person, Rosie O'Donnell. I will not eat green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Lindsey Graham. That went fun. Could you believe something so silly? But it took off around the internet, and the people are like, this dude sounds like Donald Trump, and he looks like Bradley Cooper. What is going on? So, okay, all right. I think we got something here. And so I would go on these live streams and start like saying, give me some weird situations where you'd see, Donald Trump in, and they were like, the pilot on an airplane, and it was great. Welcome to MAGA Airlines. If you see a mask come down from the ceiling, Anthony Fauci is going to get very excited. He's going to put them all on. And it was just these little things. Now, I don't want to say stupid because it's playing a role. It was these silly little things. And then I would get the best answers. I would get these liberals. I hate Trump, but you're really funny. And I went, ooh, I have a weapon here that I can use to spread a little bit of, just a little sprinkle the seeds of truth into some of these people's minds. Now I'm sitting in the shotgun seat of my friend's truck because, again, I worked in a paint store, so I was ready for Applebee's at 10 o'clock because the appetizers are half off. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I said, Mike, I need you to be quiet for a second. And he said, why? I said, because I'm going to make a video, and I think it's a really good idea. And so I did what if Donald Trump was the voice on your GPS? That's funny. So I said, I sat there, and I said, you're going to make a left onto Sawtell Boulevard. It's a beautiful road. I built it with my own two hands, the greatest road in the country. And you're going to make a left, and if you reach Bernie Sanders, you've gone too far, okay? Turn around. You're going to make a right. We're lost. You're rerouting. They call it rerouting. I call it lost. You're more lost than a liberal reading the Constitution. You're lost. Nobody knows where to go. It goes up. It's all over the place. It's like Father's Day weekend 2021. All of a sudden, boom, it's a viral hit. I did right after that, what would you do for a Klondike bar? Kamala Harris would even visit the border. Could you believe that, a Klondike? But this is the cool thing, and I said Donald Trump led to so many things, and no, he didn't give Tiger Woods his nickname, and no, he didn't invent sliced bread, although I'm sure my favorite president will take credit for that one day, because that's just how he is. He's great. I know I do love him. And so it led to such great things because I did a bit on William Shakespeare, Donald Trump. William Shakespeare, William, I've known him for a long time. I call him Bill. So you all thought that line was funny. But what's really cool is that she thought that line was funny on TikTok. And if you see me and then you see her, you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't watch football anymore, but you outkicked your coverage, sir. And so I looked and I said, holy moly, she's pretty. A little Instagram, we do what the kids call slide in the DMs, and we're married now. That's pretty freaking cool. So, and that's always the story that I tell because We got married. We left New York. We're now living in Tennessee. We took in a rescue cat. That's a nice thing, right? We took in a rescue. Anybody in here know what snow looks like? Snow. You guys have seen it? You ever got the weather, or the meteorologist? So I happen to also love to do the Trump the weatherman. It's going to snow so much you could build a snowman bigger than Stacey Abrams. Unbelievable. And we're not going to say something else, but it's okay. It's no problem. But I love the weather. It's so much fun. I did a bit. Actually, you came up with one of the lines. Brennan came up with one of the lines, my wife, on Tropical Storm Hillary. I had to do it. It's low-hanging fruit. I said, she said, you have to say this. She didn't say it like that to me, but she said, you have to say this. This is Hillary, the only time you're going to see her not wearing a pantsuit. Unbelievable. And we did it. It was great. But the weatherman, let's back to the weatherman. We took in a rescue cat. She's funny, a lot of fun. We call her fiery and mostly peaceful because she's usually nice, but sometimes she's just like, especially if she's been out of the room for a long time and she decides the litter belongs all over the floor. But it's okay, she's great. And meteorologist says, 2 to 3 inches of snow. Well, turns out the cat was putting on a little bit of weight after we brought her in. And then we noticed some physical changes, other physical changes. Turns out, there are kittens on the way, and she is, very small. I figured maybe 1 to 2 cats. That's what everyone says about the first litter, is a small litter. Turns out the vet said there's about 4 to 6 in there. So if anybody wants a cat, I've got them. We're in Tennessee. It's great. It's led to so many great things. This Trump impersonation has led to so many great things, so many great connections. I now host a show on LFA TV on Rumble called Ungoverned. We feature Wendy Mahoney's work all the time. Cynthia has been on the show. Derek has been on the show. So many other people here, I'm sure, have stories to tell. We call ourselves the voice for the voiceless. Jerry Perna has been there. John Strand, a January 6er who got railroaded by the system, has been there. But the long story short is this voice and everything for me has been so much fun. Actually, back when I still worked in the paint store, we used to get scam calls, and they used to hand me the phone and then take their phones out because they wanted the views this time. And they were like, hey, answer this one like Trump. I got one once, a solar guy. He was a solar guy calling about solar. I said, oh, solar panels, I love solar panels. The wind, the sun, that's not the wind, the sun, it's beautiful. I want 400 miles of solar panels on the southern border. Could you do that? The guy's obviously, he said his name was Stephen, Stephen Smith from Texas, but that's not where he was calling from. And so, so he says, I don't know if we can do that. I said, I want to speak to your manager. And then he hung up on me. We had a call about somebody's Xfinity. Remember that, Brendan? I had a guy, Xfinity. This is great when they play along. So I had a guy on the phone. He says, your cable box and all this other stuff. I said, is the box from China? He said, no, it's not from China. I said, no, you have to say it like me, China. And he did. I had a guy, the extended car warranty. We all know about the extended car warranty. I told him I was driving a Crown Victoria with 45 miles on it, and that my former car called the Beast is no longer my car because they stole the election, and my address is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, except they kicked me out. And the guy actually was convinced that I was Trump. He said to me, I said, do you know who you're talking to? Do you know who you're talking to? He goes, no. I said, you're talking to the president, the rightful president of the United States. He goes, all right, well, what if I am? What makes you so much better than me? I said, I've got a lot more money and much better hair than you. I know that. And then he started cracking up. We also started going through drive-thrus. That's the videos that everyone loves, these drive-thrus. And so I go to McDonald's. I want a big, beautiful Big Mac. It's beautiful. I love it. Big, beautiful Big Mac, and look at all the fries. And I want a Dr. Everyone says you have to order a Diet Coke, but I said I wanted a Dr. Pepper. Why? Because we trust Dr. Pepper more than Dr. Fauci. It's true. And I get these responses. Chick-fil-A. First time I see Brendan, we go to Chick-fil-A. I fly down to Florida. I'm saying, I was going to figure out what's going on here. We go to Chick-fil-A in her car. I said, they go, what can I get? Because Chick-fil-A is very polite. And the one thing that they do at Chick-fil-A is what? They repeat the order back to you. So now I got to give them something funny to say. So I said, I want a spicy chicken sandwich. Spicier than Kamala Harris after a night with Willie Brown. It's beautiful. And so the guy goes, okay, that's a spicy chicken sandwich, spicier than Kamala Harris. On video, great. I'm like, this is beautiful. I'm at McDonald's on Long Island on Trump's birthday last year. Not this year, but last year. Because this year we got a Big Mac and put candles in it and made a video for his birthday. It was great. So we have, and you all know the paper that he was rustling around in the audio. It was the secret menu from McDonald's. That's why I couldn't classify it. I'm not allowed to do that. But we were in McDonald's. I went to McDonald's last year for his birthday, and the guy on the intercom started doing Trump back to me. I said, this is great. I went to Arby's, small city, small town. There's an Arby's in Oneonta, New York. And they ran out of horsey sauce. Great opportunity to blame that on Joe Biden. I mean, look, the one thing about how awful the sniffer-in-chief is that how much material he gives a guy like me to go out there and make people laugh, in St. Louis. And so it's amazing. So, we're at Arby's. They ran out of horsey sauce. There was a bacon, biscuit, and beef dip sandwich, the most beautiful sandwich you could ever see. And they ran out of horsey sauce. And I said, what a shame. Bear shells, Biden. It's impacting all of us. Incredible. I went to a supermarket. There was nothing on the shelves. I saw someone down the aisle. I walked down to them. I said, hey, be quiet for about 45 seconds. Turned around, cut the video, left. That video went so crazy that it wound up being played on Sky News Australia. And all I can think about is not how cool is that, but those people who saw me do that in the aisle are probably like, are you kidding me? That guy in the supermarket just did that. But to bring it back home, I love to have fun. I love to make people laugh. I love to entertain, as you can tell. But the biggest thing I want to do, always and forever, is to win, right? I mean, we talk about Phyllis Schlafly. We talk about this organization that has been around for a long time. And as far as I know, I think he said this about her. Phyllis was with me from the beginning, and I've always been with her. Isn't she an incredible person? Phyllis Schlafly. Let's give her a round. She's a great person. But the one thing I always want to do is I want to win. So we have 2024 coming up. And now this is not just me being funny, but this is the activist in me. This is the patriot in me. This is the person that always looks at every like, every view, every share, every comment, which is what a lot of people are in this game. That's all they're in it for. They're in it for likes, views, followers, comments, shares, algorithms, all sorts of stuff. I want results. I want results. That's what I want to see. We've got people that are suffering. There are political prisoners in this country. People don't believe me when I say it. What do you mean, this Enrique, 22 years, he wasn't even there? Yeah, in the United States of America. How could you not want to win when you're staring evil dead in the face like that? How could you not want to win? So the question I had from the beginning and the question that I want to ask now, the people in the room that gasped or felt that pit in your stomach, I felt it sitting there. I feel it every time I talk to Jerry Perna. I feel it every time I talk to Cynthia about all of the families. I feel it every time I hear about a January 6th case that's gone wrong, which means all of them, none of them have gone right. When you have that pit in your stomach, if you were one of the people who said, if you were one of the folks that were in the room who were moved and upset, I want your anger, I want that emotion, I want that to be motivation to go home and find one person, just one, who you think would have the exact same reaction to the stories that you heard about January 6th tonight. Because I can promise you, it doesn't matter what you stand for. Doesn't matter what you stand for. They're coming. They will come for you. They will do it. It doesn't matter if you're a fashionista. It doesn't matter if you're into Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if you're into food. Food, seriously. You know that beef is white supremacy? I had no idea. Beef. I love beef. Cows. The only cows I don't like, it's called The View. I don't like it. Bad show. Okay, but seriously. So I want everyone to make sure, motivated. Go home. Find your people. Find your friends that you know would be impacted by that story. Tell them about the Patriot Freedom Project. Get them involved with this beautiful organization. And the last thing I want you to think about also, by the way, any veterans in the house? Any veterans, military? Thank you for your service. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Thank you. A lot of people have talked about this and said, who's Donald Trump's running mate going to be? I don't know. It's a good question. I'm really concerned about whose press secretary is going to be. I've heard Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake would be good. Tucker Carlson. Not Laura Loomer. She's awesome. But don't you think it would be funny for a guy who sounds just like him to be the press secretary? Because I can say this. I can tell you this. I've been doing this for a long time, okay? And there's nothing that I would want to do more than stare into the face of Jim Acosta and say, you are fake news. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
man. Yeah, come back up and tell us, because I can't do a Trump voice. I mean, I think I can, but I don't think I can now.
Okay, you be Trump, right? This is what happened. I didn't have the mic in my hand because I was too pressed for time. I saw Cynthia.
I'm here, right?
Trump's right there. Cynthia goes, Mr. President, you have to hear this young man say something to you. And it was like Biden in front of the Pope, almost. You know what I'm talking about. So I stood up there and I had to buy some time. So I was like, this is what the internet's always been waiting for, so everyone get your phones ready. I figured it would take a little bit more than 5 seconds, and I was like, okay. And I went, Mr. President, you've done a fantastic job. And everyone started laughing, and I was like, oh. And he started grinning. And I told him, we're going to help you win in a landslide. Worse than Chris Christie after a night at Taco Bell. And I got to tell you, I saw teeth. I got a handshake. By the way, take it from an eyewitness. Big, beautiful hands, I have to say that. What a moment. Thank you to Cynthia for that. That was amazing. And now the world finally got what it wanted. It wanted both of us in the same room. I should have been like, and by the way, press secretary. But it's okay. We'll see what happens.
Good stuff, yeah.